Welcome back to This Week on Campus, your weekly webcast featuring news and events at Western Iowa Tech. I'm Isabel Martinez.
And I'm Nathan Bowman. This week we'll be talking about some new events that'll be featured here on campus. But first,
here at Western Iowa Tech, every student gets stressed, anxious, or even depressed. Coffee and Connections was made to allow folks who want to talk to someone about their troubles to talk. Tyler Euchner interviewed Lashana Moyle about how they are wanting to help students on campus.
What I would love to say is, with that being said, with us trying to offer things here on the campus specific to students and how we can help, if there are ideas out there, if there are things that students would like to see that we're not offering or we're not touching on, we would love the feedback. We want to meet the students where they're at, and so if what we're trying is not working, let us know so that we can get that figured out and hopefully get it so that we're offering it here on campus.
Connections meets every Wednesday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. in room A422 in the library. Feel free to stop in to talk and have a nice cup of coffee or hot chocolate.
Western Iowa Tech Housing wants you to stay afloat. That's why they gave out root beer floats on Monday. The housing staff lets you make the root beer floats yourself. Western Iowa Tech RA Madeline Benoche tells us there was more than just the floats.
So it's called Stay Afloat this semester, so it's root beer floats and goal setting. So people can come, enjoy root beer floats, and then write a goal they want to achieve this semester, whether that be school related or like physically, mentally, stuff like that.
The float event was a reason to get everybody to plan their way through the semester and was used as a way to keep people engaged to be in college.
February is Black History Month, and Western Iowa Tech is celebrating with a presentation to educate about the history of African Americans. The presentation had music and a speech from guests. In light of events to get rid of history lessons from education, Student Activities Coordinator Mike Brown tells his side of the story.
You know, I am definitely an advocate for it being taught in schools. You know, when I came up in Sioux City, Iowa, 6th grade, you know, I learned that I was a slave, right? But there was nothing really much past that, right? But I learned that information from my parents and through going to college, and I learned what my people have done. And I don't agree with those things not being in a history book. So we want to try to tell as many people as we can to get the word out.
Brown says that if these history lessons are taken out of lower education, these lessons have to have a place in higher education. When we come back, Tyler Euchner has an interview with computer network instructor Sandy Silvernagel about the program she teaches here on campus. Stay with us.
I've been deployed overseas 6 times with multiple combat tours. I have had a bounty placed on my head by insurgent forces. I haven't missed a day, a beat, in my career. I haven't been in the hospital since the day I was born. Only one thing has been able to take me down: COVID. And now I've done my part to take COVID down, getting the vaccine.
Even though there is so much against us, you will see me wearing a face covering.
And even with my face covered,
you will see me
as a son,
as a friend to everyone I meet,
as a fighter for change,
as a woman who stands up for what I believe in.
So join me in wearing a face covering
to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Because this is one small act of kindness that has the power to bring us all together.
Welcome back. We've seen some pretty interesting weather this last week.
Pablo Gutierrez has a look at our weather for the week ahead. What's the weather like, Pablo?
Thanks, Isabel and Nathan. Last week, we started out with pretty cold, but it then warmed up. And that's the same trend that we'll be seeing this week. On Saturday, we'll be having mostly sunny skies with temps hitting a high of 29 and a low of 4. Sunday will be pretty sunny, also with a high of 28 and a low of 17. Monday, we will see some sunshine and warmer weather with temps reaching 43 degrees and a low of 19. On Tuesday, more sunshine will cover us with a high of 51 and a low of 26. On Wednesday, we will see some clouds in the sky with temps hitting a high of 46 and a low of 14. And finally, on Thursday, it will be mostly sunny for the day with a high of 34. It's a similar trend to last week, starting cooler, then eventually starting to warm up. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Pablo. We'll see you back in the studio. We'll be right back with more social media information. Stay with us.
The day we've all been dreaming of is approaching, when life gets back to normal. But we're not there yet. So please, everybody, do your part. Get vaccinated against COVID-19 as soon as possible, because that's the best way to protect you. Protect them. Protect everybody. It's the best way to get Iowa back to normal. Find a COVID vaccine location near you at vaccinateiowa.gov.
Whitstock is back and better than ever. We know you've missed that pre-pandemic sound, and we've missed it too. That's why WIT TV has decided to give you the Whitstock you knew and combine it with the style of Glow. To kick things off, we have Winter Wayfarer. The Glow alumni return to WIT for a virtual concert experience. Now available at youtube.com/WITTV.
Welcome back. I'm here with the computer network instructor, Sandy. How have you been today, Sandy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Alrighty, let's jump right into it. Now, what is your program exactly?
Okay, so I am an instructor for the Computer Administration and Security. What we do is we are actually the part that builds the base of the network. So we are everything from learning how the computer works, how all the different pieces and parts go together. We then go into networking to where we all love our cell phones, but our cell phones have to connect to something that connects to something to connect to something. I'm that part. I'm the part that's going to teach you how those things work together, how that traffic flows, how things move through the network. Then from there you move up to the operating system. So we look at how does the software that you and I talk to, because we don't speak computer, we speak different languages, but we don't speak zeros and ones, which is what computers speak. So then we teach you how that all interacts, how to create accounts, how those accounts authenticate. We get into the VMs or the virtual machines that is what makes the cloud work, so that you can store your photos in the cloud and so forth. So we teach you everything from that and on up. So you kind of think of a pyramid. We're the bottom end of the pyramid. We're the part that builds your foundation. Then you build the software on top of that, and then the cyber goes on top of that, because the cyber is what's going to protect this whole pyramid as we look at it.
Okay. And you've said previously that you've got yourself a new lab this year, actually.
We do. We have upgraded our lab. We use primarily Cisco equipment, and that's simply because that's the programs that we use. We also have got brand new switches, brand new routers, so that we teach the students on a practical level where they're actually plugging in and out things. They're doing the programming on that equipment so that they understand, how does that data flow? How do I protect that network? How does it make it better? How can I stop something from happening? Why did these things happen? So that we can make a smooth network that's going to work for our end users.
Okay. And would you say that this this lab is a bit more of an improvement than the last one?
Absolutely.
Like, how much has that affected you and your students? Because I'm assuming you still have some students from last year that came over to this one. How, was it easier? Was it just as easy to transition from that lab to this one, or?
Sure. The students absolutely love the new lab. It is easier, it is a better setup, all of the equipment, everything in my lab is all matching. So if I have a student that's having trouble on one side and there's someone across the room that's having trouble, we can troubleshoot back and forth. We can help each other across the room. Because it's now open in the middle, we have great collaboration. The students are able to work together. If I'm helping a student in one area and someone else needs help and there's another student, we just kind of go around and we help each other. That's the way the industry works. What works for you, what doesn't work. We make sure that everybody's all on the same page, that we have a general understanding. Maybe there's times when they're asking their friend to help them and they don't understand, and I can explain it differently, or vice versa. That's part of what makes this industry great, is because of that collaboration piece. I really insist on the collaboration in my classroom, and I have never had anybody that's argued with it. These are the kids these are their cohorts. They're going to help them when they get out into the industry as well. We know certain students have a really good understanding of certain things. They're the ones that you can come back to time and time again. We bring the whole group up that way. That way we're not leaving people behind as we go along.
Okay. And you told me a little bit earlier that you were also planning on eventually getting it so that they can work from home on the exact same server
Correct.
that you have right now?
Correct. What we're working on is we actually have another setup that's in the closet, and that is actually going to have equipment, but they will access that through the internet, through a login there. They will access the actual equipment, but they will do it as if they were remote to that. So as an industry, it's not super common that you always are in front of that equipment. A lot of times you end up what they would call remote desktop, or remoting into the machinery. By setting up this system, they're going to get that feeling of, okay, this is what I would do in the real world, because I'm not necessarily always going to be able to get in front of that equipment. And B, it also will allow them the ability, let's say that I have someone that's been very ill, that they can do that. As well as we are looking at bringing our program online. This will give the students almost exactly the same feel as it does if they're in the actual classroom. The difference with the actual classroom is you are physically taking those cables and cords and plugging them in and moving things around, whereas when you're on the other one, you still get the feel of programming and seeing how things work or don't work, but the physical cable part would be the only part that would be different.
Okay. And speaking of people getting illnesses, COVID's been around for roughly, about 2 years at this point. How would you say that has affected your program at all? Do you think do you know if it's made it rise a bit more, get more people, or would you say you have less people wanting to go into this industry?
I think it's given us a different perspective on that, in that we all understand that if COVID would have happened, say, 5 years before this, we wouldn't have been able to do the Zoom meetings. We wouldn't have been able to do the work from home. We wouldn't have been able to do that because our infrastructure was not there. If anything, it has reinforced how important this program is, because you love your wireless, but you still have to have that person that understands how to make everything go together, how to make that stuff all talk to each other. Because otherwise, I've just got a device that it's a nice device, but it doesn't do anything, right? And we like to be able to connect to that wireless to get to our TikTok, to get to our Facebook and our other applications. So while having the wireless is great, you still have to have the person behind that, because wireless at a point still has to go back to a wire. It still has to go back to devices communicating with each other, which is what we do.
All right. Now before we essentially say goodbye, is there anything else that you would like to add, perchance? No.
I would say that don't be afraid to come into my program. Even though you think you don't know anything, I have had students everywhere from beginning. When I started in this industry, I came from food service and went to computers. And if you can troubleshoot, you can do that. If you can follow a process, you can do this program. It's difficult, but it's not a difficult that's impossible to learn.
It's really mostly about just you sitting down and having to work very hard at understanding this, really.
I would say just if you can understand processes, you would be successful in that. Yes.
Oh, alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being here for the interview, Sandy.
Thank you.
Much appreciate it. Now, when we come back, we'll have a look at what else we'll be having on campus this week.
Myth. If you get COVID-19, you'll recover after a few days. That myth is false. We're only just beginning to understand the effects of COVID-19 on the human body, as we're starting to see more and more people identifying as long haulers who are having symptoms for weeks, if not months, after their initial infection. Continue to wear a mask, socially distance, and wash your hands. Together, we can keep COVID out of school.
For ways to keep your community safe, go to backtoschooltogether.com.
Looking for a good book to read or need a place to work? You can stop by the library near the Overlook Cafe. It'll be open Sunday from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., Monday through Wednesday from 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m., Thursday from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Library will not be open on Saturdays, but you still have the ability to use library chat while it is closed.
If you like sports, working out, or even some ping pong, the Robert E. Dunker Student Center is open for you. The center will be open Monday through Friday from 8 to 8 and Sunday from 4 to 8 p.m. On Saturday, the Student Center will be closed. If any additional information is needed, you can contact Mike Brown. You can give him an email or you can give him a text message.
Are you perhaps not feeling well and don't think you can make it to the doctors far from campus? Well, Western Iowa Tech has you covered. Western Iowa Tech and Tri-State Nursing offers services here on campus for cold, flu, strep throat, STD testing, COVID testing, and many more. The service is completely free as long as you have your student ID. Office hours are from Mondays through Thursdays from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. in the room A212 in the Kaiser Building.
Events and information for Western Iowa Tech can be found on their social media pages. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And be sure to follow for more updates.
If you have something you would like publicized on This Week on Campus, send it to thisweek@whitcc.edu. This Week on Campus is a webcast from the Mass Communications program here at Western Iowa Tech Community College in Sioux City, Iowa.
New episodes of This Week on Campus are posted every Friday afternoon. For the latest content from our programs, you can visit our website, whitcc.tv, where you can find a direct link to our YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe and have a wonderful week.